Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Hey, welcome everybody to another glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas. And as always, we are podcasting the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSPR is my Twitter handle. So check me out there. USC on fire. Haven't been able to shout out you guys for a while, but they are just doing a great job in this recruiting thing. And a lot of people are doing some really talented work. And we'll kind of give props to the guys and who are doing really good work for USC behind the scenes. I know Chad Bowden has put together a really solid just recruiting staff, and they've just done a great job. And that's the reason why, he's talked the talk, but he's also walked the walk as far as this USC class has gone. And it's a talented one. I want to enjoy my years, but as you get older, you want to enjoy your years. But I wouldn't mind fast forwarding just a little bit, take a little peek at what's going on in 2026 as that group gets on the field. Benny Wiley is gone now. So Benny Wiley is gone, and we've heard, some things here and there about, why he might be gone. And it could be because, maybe because USC has blown some leads in the fourth quarter, and that could be part of strength and conditioning. We don't know. But at the end of the day, it's just like, he was, I think for him, it kind of stinks because it's, obviously he was part of the Trojan family, and wish him all luck in the world. But when things change, they change, and they change rapidly in this college football game. I wouldn't, it's almost like you want to rent instead of buy a house. If you coach in college football nowadays, because we feel like that's a big part of it. And for USC, they went out there and they made a change. I think there was rumors about maybe the Indiana strength and conditioning coach will come over, but I think he got a bigger deal from the Hoosiers. So we'll see there. I think that, obviously if it's Chad, he has a plan. He has a list, of guys who he feel like can come in and take Benny Wiley's spot and do a good job there for the Trojans. So I would not worry too much. The staff he's put together is a really good one, and the front office looks good as well too. So we'll be all listening. We wish Benny Wiley all the luck in the world, and then we look forward to the guy who's coming in. I think for Benny, it kind of stinks because you had that first couple of years with Alex Grinch. Alex Grinch wanted sleeker, slender bodies, faster, stuff like that on the defensive line, and that really didn't bode well for the Trojans, as they kind of missed that opportunity having Caleb Williams for a couple of seasons, and then now he is out of a job. So we'll see. Hopefully that he'll rise up and get somewhere else and go somewhere else as far as that goes. So we got Albert Hill, 5-star corner. We got who's we got here? We got Luke Weaver. He's a four-star wide receiver. Roderick Penzo. He is a 4-star receiver. You also got Kenai Pepe, also a 5-star, kind of the cream of the crop, if you will, for USC, as they continue to just roll through recruiting and getting some quality heads in here who are really going to help build this program back up to where it goes. I think they have 27 recruits. He said he wanted to build this to be one of the best, brightest, and highest number of recruits that USC's ever got. That was Chad's goal. I think he's reaching that goal. We see it every day, and every day you see the on Twitter and social media, you see, coaches and people who work in the front office put up the fight on sign, and you just get excited about what's coming next for USC coming up in the future. So also transfer, he transferred to USC and then left USC, and now he's back. Chasen Johnson is also back here. So now hopefully, obviously I think he stays now as we get closer and closer to the whole thing coming to to the end of just, guys, being able to transfer and everything like that. So that's obviously a quality depth piece. I think USC was already really talented in that secondary, but now you add somebody with his experience. Obviously, Tavon Reed knows him, and he helped bring him in as well, along with Doug Belk, who's done a good job bringing in people from the second, help the secondary become what I feel like is going to be a really good secondary coming into this season. So it's a talented group. Excited. I mean, just really excited about this season to start. Get things going. I mean, I don't want to fast. I love baseball. I love other sports, but I just can't wait to sit in the Coliseum and see what's gonna happen. Because coming this year, because the coaching is there, the offensive players are there. The head coach. I like Lincoln Riley more than most. I think the head coach is there, and then now, that intensity, that momentum of what USC, that degree means, and all those things like that. Well, what that means for these young men who are coming into the fold here in Los Angeles, and it's a great opportunity for them. And I think that's part of what was missing, is like just showing them, hey, this is a great opportunity, whether you make the pros or not. This is a fantastic opportunity, because you want to be in that circle of people who have influence, who can help you off the field when your career is over, no matter when that is, whether it's your 10-year NFL career or whether it's right after college. So that the place is going to be rocking. I think the juice is going to be back in that stadium. And I can't wait. I really can't wait. The first two games, there should be cupcakes, but still, I can't wait to see what happens there as well. So Josh Pate had a nice interview with Lincoln Riley, and you kind of see the passion there. You kind of see what the vision is as well. Obviously, it's really excited to you get more excited, more and more excited every time you hear Lincoln Riley talk about this class. It's going to be and everything that's going on with it. I think he can finally go back and just take a deep breath and just go coach. And now he can do that. Like, he didn't have to worry about all this other stuff, all the ancillary foolishness and everything like that. He can just go ahead and coach, and just knowing that he's gonna have a quality roster, he's gonna have depth on that roster. He's going to have some of the best, and that's what USC football is all about, is about being the best of the best. And he was having to do so many different things, wear so many different hats. Now he gets where to have head coach, and that is something that I think he's going to shine at, and he's going to be fantastic at. So, we can sit there and talk about all the different things about Lincoln Riley and this and that, what he should do, what he shouldn't do. And I think having the analysts there, having people who have, kind of, college football's change every year, kind of say, hey, kind of take a step back and give him that feedback he needs to become a better head coach. You only get better by learning, and I think Lincoln Riley's gonna learn a lot this year about how things used to go at Notre Dame. Like, Notre Dame had, I mean, they made the playoff. They made the playoffs and made it all the way to the championship game with Riley Leonard at quarterback. Like, think about that for a second. They made it all the way there with Riley Leonard at quarterback. That says a whole lot. That says a whole lot about how that team was built, how strong that team was, how physical that team was, how they got better as games went on. And I think that's what Chad, I think that's what Jen, and I think that's what Lincoln are trying to build out here in Los Angeles. So kudos to that. NFL draft just went by, and I kind of just this is the 22nd year in a row that USC has had a guy drafted in the first 3 or 4 rounds. So I think that kind of, even when they're down, they're still up. They still bring quality players to the National Football League, and I think Jalen Smith is a guy who was maybe out of the ranks now, and now he got, as the everything went closer and got closer and closer to draft time. He probably went earlier than people thought, but Texans they like Kalen Bullock. They like how he was brought up. And then that's another thing where you can look at a guy like Doug Belk and a guy like Danton Lynn can say to the recruits, hey, look where Jalen Smith was, and now look where Jalen Smith is right now. And if he starts making plays the same way Kalen Bullock did for the Houston Texans, that's incredible. And I think he's gonna fit right in. Slot corner, can tackle, can do all these different things. He does a great job of having great footwork and mirror receivers' footsteps, and just be a guy who's gonna help that team. There's no question about it. They wouldn't have drafted him as high as they did if they didn't feel like he could be an integral part of that secondary. And I think the success of what Kalen Bullock did last year, I think it helps that pedigree of USC. And then when you're running that defense with the Texans, and you go talk to the head coach, you go talk to Doug Belk, you go talk to Dayton Lynn on some of these pro days, you have an opportunity there to kind of pick their brain and see how they use them. And he's coming from a pro. Everybody talks about a pro style offense, National Football League. Well, he's coming from a pro style defense. You know, I mean, James Smith is coming from if you play in this defense, this Dayton Lynn defense, you're coming from a pro style defense, and that helps you out. I think that helps you a lot. Helps you out a lot in the National Football League, and that transition from college to pro. Really quick, want to do a quick shout out to just people who are still behind the scenes. I mean, like I know Chad is out there, behind the microphones and getting all the interviews and everything like that, and he did justifiably so. They're having our GM be this guy who wants USC to be great, who is ready for who is kind of getting us ready for what's coming, and not shy about it. I love that part, but I want to give a shout out to Tavon Reed. Obviously he's come in and hit the ground running and really helped with recruiting. Also, Chad Savage, doing everything he can, and hopefully they can get that number one tight end. That'd be kind of cool as well. And then you got one of the big dogs. You know what I'm saying? You got one of the big dogs in here, Coach Dog, out there, Aaron out there doing his thing. All the things we see. We see the recruits coming in, and we see all the on three or 24/7 sports kind of update us on who's coming and everything like that. But those are some of the people who I think USC fans should shout out, because on social media and everything else like that, because those are the guys who are having the conversations. They're having the conversations, and they're telling them, like, this is the reason why you come to USC. This is why it's quote unquote the place to be in college football. It makes all the sense in the world for those guys to come over, and even though they have depth, there's a place for you here. You're gonna get snaps. You're gonna get developed. The number one thing is development. Like, how can I get from that high school field to the Coliseum to the National Football League? Like, how can I do that? And I think when you see all the guys drafted from Notre Dame last year, where Chad was, they can point to those things. They can tell you, "Hey, I got guys drafted." Coach Savage has gotten guys drafted. Coach Reed probably got some got guys drafted. Like, this is what it takes. Like that whole kind of that professional ensemble of really talented young people. What you get with Coach Dog, what you get with Coach Savage, you get with Coach Reed. Like, I mean, all those guys have an opportunity to help USC become what USC needs to be for college football. And I think they're on their way. I think they're on their way. I think this season could really help them push it in that right direction. If they can get 9 wins, if they can get 10 wins, and possibly make a playoff. 10 wins, I think, will get them in the playoffs when you look at this schedule. But first and foremost, you can do everything you do off the court, but you got to do it on the court. And I mean, off the field, but you got to do it on the field. Recruiting is great. Us going back and forth with Oregon fans is fun. All that stuff like that is great. But like, when it comes time to win and make the playoff, that's where USC has to start doing that. And I think it's pretty clear that they're trying, but they gotta finish the job, and they gotta get it done. They have to get it done. All right. So, anybody, right? USC podcast. We got some more stuff coming for you this week. We're gonna talk about John Jonah Maheim and his journey a little bit. Same with and how he can help the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thought he would get drafted a little bit higher, but I think he has he has the opportunity. He got drafted. Take advantage of that opportunity, Jonah, and we'll talk about him next show, and also talk about Chasen Johnson. You kind of look at some film on him and see how he can help the Trojans take it to the next level. All right, Student Body Right, USC podcast. We out of here. Fight on, folks.